Good afternoon. This is Hampton Roads Real Estate News for the week ending August 7th, 2026, and I'm Coach Drew Little from the Home Run team at Real. Here's what happened this week and what it means for buyers, sellers, and investors across Hampton Roads. Let's start with a number that continues to matter most when financing a home. This year, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate climbed to 6.69%, according to Freddie Mac, from 6.66% last week, making it the highest rate we've seen so far in 2026. The Federal Reserve did not vote to raise its benchmark rate last week. However, 3 members of the board dissented and did favor a hike. Fed watchers now think we could see a hike as soon as September. What this means for this market is that you shouldn't build your home buying decision around a mortgage rate. Build it around a payment you can comfortably afford. We also got an important employment report this morning. The U.S. economy unexpectedly lost 23,000 jobs in July, while the unemployment rate edged down to 4.1%. More importantly, previous estimates for May and June were revised down by a combined 103,000 jobs. This is on top of the news last week that the workforce participation rate is the lowest it's been since the early 1970s. That means the number of Americans able to work but not looking for work is at nearly a 50-year high. Those non-workers are not reflected in the unemployment rate. These aren't recession signals by themselves, but it does tell us that the labor market isn't as strong as some of the earlier numbers suggested. That's important for housing because jobs drive household confidence, relocation decisions, and the ability to qualify for a mortgage. For Hampton Roads, we'll be watching this particularly closely because our regional economy is already showing signs of softening. And now for a Hampton Roads market update. Here's where the local story gets interesting. Hampton Roads housing is still moving. The latest RAIN numbers covering June showed 2,699 pending sales, up 14.7% from a year earlier, and 2,721 settled sales, up 7.1%. The median selling price reached $395,000. At the same time, active inventory climbed to 5,752 homes, the highest level since June of 2020. So we're seeing something that would have been difficult to imagine a few years ago. More homes are available, more homes are selling, and prices are still rising. The market is not collapsing. However, it is a market in which buyers have many more choices, and sellers that price their homes, prepare their homes, and market their homes correctly are rewarded, while others are often overlooked. One of the things driving the market in Hampton Roads is employment. Virginia Realtors reported last month that Hampton Roads experienced the largest decline in total employment among Virginia's metro areas since the beginning of 2026. At the same time, the region's rental market is showing strength. Virginia Realtors reported that Hampton Roads rents increased 5.1% year over year in the second quarter, the largest increase among Virginia's 9 metro areas. Put those two numbers together and you get an interesting picture. The ownership market is benefiting from more inventory and strong sales, while the rental market continues to experience demand. That could be important for investors and for homeowners trying to decide whether to keep a property or whether a rental makes more sense than selling. Here's your action item for the week. Know your number before you need your number. If you're a homeowner, find out what your home is worth, what your current mortgage balance is, and roughly how much equity you have. You don't have to sell, you don't have to refinance, and you don't have to borrow. But knowing these 3 numbers gives you a much better financial picture when opportunities or problems come along. And if you're thinking about buying, do the same thing with your payment. Don't just ask, how much can I afford? Ask what monthly payment fits comfortably into my budget. That's a much better decision-making tool in a 6% plus rate environment. This week's home run isn't a house, it's preparation. With mortgage rates at 2026 highs and Hampton Roads inventory considerably healthier than it was a few years ago, the advantage goes to people who know their numbers before they have to make a decision. Buyers should know their comfortable payment, homeowners should know their equity. Sellers should know what comparable homes are actually selling for, not just what their neighbor is asking. And investors should know whether today's rents and financing costs actually produce the ROI they're looking for. The market doesn't have to be perfect for you to make a good decision. You just have to understand the numbers. The best real estate market decisions are informed ones. We'll be back next Friday with the real estate news that matters most to Hampton Roads. Again, I'm Coach Drew Little with the Home Run team at Real, and this has been Hampton Roads Real Estate News. Have a great week.